Devonta Smith, Devonta Smith, Devonta Smith. We got him. What an epic first night in the draft for the Eagles. But how did they do the rest of the draft? Let's talk about the good, the bad, and the Howie vision.
Still the cowboy, Mr. McLean. You Americans are all alike. But this time, John Wayne doesn't walk into the sunset with Grace Kelly.
Scary Cooper, asshole.
Oh, Dingbat! Oh, shit! Oh, shit! That was crazy!
Happy trails, Hans. Dallas still stinks. You're right the way, King Dingbat here, and I hope everybody's having a great Sunday. I hope you guys are doing well. So the draft is over, and I don't care what anybody says. The Eagles got better. They got better this weekend, and I want to kind of review the whole draft, give you my thoughts, maybe give you some grades on each day, and talk about the good, the bad, and some of the Howie vision that we went through, because I think it was all over the place this week. But before I do that, let me just thank each and every one of you guys who joined me in the live streams. I mean, these were epic live streams. 4.5 hours, 5.5 hours, 6.5 hours. And you guys just stayed there. Shout out to each and every one of you guys. Also, thank you to Joey Shakes for joining me for full 2 nights of the first 2 nights. And Tone DeShields the second for coming on, hanging out with me on day 3. Thank you to each and every one of you guys. It really meant a lot. It was a hell of a time. It was fun. It was classic. And when you look at day 1 of the draft, and you look at day 1, it is maybe one of the most epic first nights of a draft that I'll ever remember. Because in that draft, for us Eagle fans, the pressure was building, right? You have 1 through 9 picks. You see the board going about as horrible as it possibly could go for the Eagles. You have Kyle Pitts goes off to Atlanta. You have Cincinnati, bunch of dingbats. They take Jamar Chase. They still got no way to protect their quarterback. So those 2 guys are gone before 6. So Howie Roseman, he made the right call trading back because he knew that those guys were going to be gone. I was very surprised both of them were gone at 6. But then you get J.C. Horn. He goes early. Then you get Patrick Surtain. He goes at 9. And Patrick Surtain going at 9. And then Dallas is on the clock. If you're an Eagle fan, you're thinking, we're dead. We're done. We're going to lose. Devonta Smith is going to go. Parsons is going to go. And Devonta Smith is going to go. And you're thinking that's how it's going to be. That's what's going to happen. And then out of nowhere, out of the dead, out of the corner, out of the boiler room, okay, Howie Roseman comes away and makes an amazing trade. The one thing I always say about Howie Roseman, his best strength, what he does good, is trades. He's very good at trades, getting people to trade with him and getting what he wants for the most part. And he trades and jumps the Giants, who obviously wanted Devonta Smith, and the Eagles go and they draft Devonta Smith. One of my top 4 targets in this draft, even when we were at 6. So to me, the Eagles got one of my top 4 best players in this draft. And it was an amazing night. It was, just when we got him and we drafted, the pressure to come off of us after being like really draft picks 1 through 9, freaking out that we're going to lose everybody that we were targeting. It was absolutely amazing. You got an immediate starter, a receiver who I think is going to be a stud in this league, and people who say he's too small are going to be eating that for years. Mark my words. Devonta Smith, A++. Man, the Eagles, A+ that night. You couldn't do it any better than what the Eagles did. Trade back to 12, still get one of your top 4 targets, come away with a first-round pick for next year, and I thought that the Eagles, trading a 3rd-round pick, yeah, it was a lot to go up, only 1 spot, but you had 2 3rd-round picks. It was worth it. So I thought the Eagles got an A+ day 1. Howie Roseman was at his best. Now, when we go into day 2, okay, we're all thinking we would like 2 starters out of this draft. And when you look at this draft, I think there's two ways to look at it, right? If you're looking at this draft like, hey, you know what? We need starters to come in and play next year. You're going to view this day two differently than if you're looking at it saying, hey, we're looking to build for 2-3 years down the road. All right? And depending upon how you see it, it's probably going to depend how you feel about this draft. But what I try to do is think, what are the Eagles thinking? What were they thinking? And I don't think the Eagles were thinking about next year. I don't think they were worried about that other corner spot. I don't think they were worried about a linebacker spot. I think they were looking at, hey, we got to build this thing up in 2 to 3 years. What are we going to do? And in the second round with the 37th pick, they had JOK available. They had Asante Samuel Jr. available. And I really wanted JOK. I thought JOK or Asante Samuel Jr., instant starter. Okay, but they went ahead and took Landon Dickerson, center, some people say slash guard from Alabama. Now, he's a top 25 talent. He would have gone way earlier, except for he has injury concerns. 2 knee injuries, 2 ankle injuries. Really, pretty extensive, really, when you think about it. But what an immense talent. What an immense talent. Now, here's how I feel about this pick. Me personally, I feel like this. I have no issue with the player they drafted for the talent. Okay, I have no issue with him. What my issue was I believed. I believed that the Eagles could have drafted at 37. Let's say JOK, Asante Samuel Jr. Traded back up and got him anyways. I don't believe he would have gone so early. Now, there's some people saying that he was going to go to New England and he wouldn't have been on the board long. But I think that we hear that a lot when teams make certain moves. I believe he would have been there later. And let's say you draft Asante Samuel Jr. or a JOK, and then you trade your 3rd round pick and your 2nd round pick maybe next year. You don't need the 2nd round pick next year. You have 3 first round picks. And you go back up and you get him. Nobody would complain. Nobody would have an issue with it. They would be like, wow, we got JOK or Asante Samuel Jr. and this kid. We're good. What a great day. So I think that the placement of where he was picked, I think they didn't utilize the spot right. That's what I'll say. In terms of talent and the player, what a beast. What a beast this guy can be. If he could stay healthy, and that's the scary part, the if. I'm worried about the injuries. I'm not worried about the talent. Get him on the field, he's going to be a beast. But it would have been nice to secure a 2nd starter for this year, and then come back in and get him. That was my only thing, okay? But in terms of talent, great. And really on day 2, my issue with day 2 isn't the players that they picked at all. I love the players. It was how they managed the spots, how they managed the trade backs and things like that. I think they could have done a better job. I think Howie could have done a better job in that situation, especially when we're talking about the 3rd round pick. So where I think the real big mistake happened on day 2 was when the Eagles picked at number 73. Because if you remember, the Eagles at the time were picking at 70. They were picking at 70, and what happened was, while number 67 was on the clock, the Eagles made a trade to trade back to 73. Now they were targeting somebody that they thought was going to be there, and they thought they could move back 3 spots, gain another 6th round pick. Why you need 4 6th round picks, I just don't know. But that's what they did, and by doing this, they lost out on the player that they wanted, and we saw this in the war room when Howie was fist bumping and Tom Donahue was not having it. He was pissed off because they traded back for a 6th round pick and lost their target. This was bad management of the draft board. It just was. That's the honest truth. However, the Eagles still wound up making a very nice draft selection in Milton Williams. Everything I'm reading about this guy, he's a player. He's a player, could play inside, could play outside, prefers to be inside, but he is a player. And when it comes to the defensive line, The Eagles, for as long as we've known them, their bread and butter is always the defensive line on defense. So it's not a surprise that they would want to replenish it. And I have no problem with the pick. I'm very excited about the player. I just wish that they would have handled the draft situation better. And then, of course, the War Room thing goes up on Twitter. Everybody's talking about it. And it just looks bad. It just looks bad. So that pretty much finished day 2. They took Landon Dickerson, who is going to be a stud as long as he's healthy. And I think he will be. Just give him 2 years. And then they took Milton Williams, the defensive tackle, who I thought was a very, 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 very good pick. So in day 2 altogether, I would say that I would probably, and this is being honest, I would give the Eagles a C+. I give the Eagles C+ for day 2. And the reason it's a C is because of the way that Howie handled the positioning where they were drafting. The trade back to 73 was a big failure because they missed out on a guy that they wanted for a 6th-round pick. And then I think they could have played the Landon Dickerson thing differently. I think they could have still gotten a day 1 starter for next year and come back up, give a little draft capital, and then get the guy anyways. So I say A+ day 1. I'll give the Eagles a C+ day 2. And the reason why I say I give them that is because the players that they drafted are going to be good players. It's just the way that they managed the draft that I had a problem with on day 2. As far as day 3 goes, in the 4th round, they take Zeke McPherson, the cornerback. Now, I really like this pick. Everything I'm reading about this kid, he's a player, comes from a background, family played football, played baseball. He's an athlete. And with Gannon's ability to develop defensive backs, I think this is a great pick. Great pick. I have no problem with it at all. I thought it was awesome. Now, the next pick the Eagles had on day 3 is probably my favorite pick of the day. Kenneth Gainwell, the running back, is a stud. He's a stud. This is a complete and total steal, man. They stole him, no question about it. What a great pickup. We need another running back because the truth of the matter is I don't know what Balsa Scott left. I don't know what he has left. I don't know how long he's going to be there. Some of these other guys like Jordan Howard, he could be gone after the year. We haven't even seen Elijah Holyfield. Some people would like a more bigger physical back, but really we got 2 guys on the roster that can already do that. It's not really the Eagles' MO. Gainwell, he can run, he can catch out backfield, and then of course we all seen him double moonwalk Micah Parsons' ass. He sent him into next week. Next week, double moonwalk. I love that block. I was hearing about this in my stream. You gotta see the block. I watched it last night. Holy crap. Man, he hit him so hard. He hit him the next week. I love this kid. And they say he's Fletcher Cox's cousin. So, hey, why not bring in family? If he can play, then bring him in. But I thought this probably my favorite pick of the day. So in round 6, pick 189, the Eagles took defensive tackle Marlon Tuipulotu. I'm sorry if I'm saying his name wrong. I can't help it. But that's who they took from USC, defensive tackle. Now, he was slated to go somewhere around the 3rd round. So for the value of a 6th-round pick, I mean, the Eagles, they got a good value, okay? No question about it. The problem was he also has a lot of injury concerns. And during his presser, he didn't want to speak about his medical. So it really makes you wonder, like, what is going on with his medical? This was probably my least favorite pick of day 3. And the main reason is you took a defensive tackle the night before. I didn't think we needed to take another one. If it was a defensive end, sure, I wouldn't mind. But this pick really, to me, was like, I wasn't too big on it. The next pick, and let me see where it was. It was round 6, 191. This is a great pick. Taron Jackson, the defensive end. Man, this kid looks like he can play. He looks like a legit pass rusher, and I think this was a huge steal. And around the league, a lot of people think that this was a great draft pick for the Eagles. We need defensive ends. We got Brandon Graham. He's getting old. Derek Barnett. We don't know where he's going to be after this year. And Taron Jackson, my second favorite pick of the day. Totally loved it. It was awesome. Now, with the next pick, and it was round 6 at 224, I'm trying to make sure I get which numbers these guys were slated. The Eagles took Jacoby Stevens, LSU linebacker slash safety. The Eagles have him listed as a linebacker. He played some safety at LSU, played a little linebacker. Very talented guy. A guy who is a bit of a tweener, so maybe that is one of the reasons why he drafted. He was trying to put on weight, I guess, last year, and some people say that slowed him up a little bit, things like that. But a tremendous talent, a tremendous value, and I thought this was another killer pick by the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, after they took Jacoby Stevens, they had the 225th pick, and I believe it was 240 pick. The Eagles made a trade with Washington No Names. They traded a 6th round pick and a 7th round pick, and then they got a 2022 5th round pick. Great value in a trade. You get a 5th round pick next year for a 6th and a 7th this year. You already had 3 other 6th round picks. This was a great move for the Eagles. A great trade, I thought, and I thought the Redskins bid on that one. I hope they got somebody that they really like. Now, with the 7th round pick and our last pick of the day, the Eagles took linebacker Patrick Johnson, round 7, pick 234. Now, Patrick Johnson is listed as a linebacker, more of a 3-4 pass rusher, I guess, more of an edge rusher. The Eagles are going to use him in a 4-3 defensive end role. Think of Jannard Avery, kind of transitioning. He's kind of a tweener like that. Avery could play linebacker. He was a good 3-4 edge rushing linebacker. This kid is going to have to be a 4-3 defensive end. That's what the Eagles want to use him for. So they got 2 defensive ends in day 2 of the draft, or day 3, I'm sorry. Day 3 of the draft, they get a defensive tackle also. So they took 3 defensive linemen, right? Day 3. A lot of people are like, why are you taking so many defensive linemen? Why are you taking so many defensive linemen? It's very simple. The Eagles' bread and butter on defense is the defensive line. You got to beef it up. You got to keep it up. I have no problem with it. You build from the inside out. So I have no problem with the Eagles taking these guys. Hopefully, 1 or 2 of those guys can develop and be effective. I thought day 3 was a B+. I thought the Eagles did a really good job on day 3. They made a nice trade with Washington, got a 5th round pick for next year. The McPherson pick, I think, is a very underrated pick. They needed another defensive back. They needed, some more edge rushers. I think getting the defensive ends is a great job. I didn't like I said, the second defensive tackle pick, the Tupo. I can never say his name. I didn't like that pick, and then Gainwell was my favorite pick of the day. So I would say day 1, A+. Day 2, I'll give them a C+. And the reason they get the plus is because of the immense talent that Dickerson provides. And then I would say B+, day 3. I really thought the Eagles had a great day 3. And I forget who said this in my chat yesterday, but they said it seems like the Eagles tend to go on day 3 more with the scouting and less with the analytics. Day 3 seems to be a very big analytic day, or day 2 seems to be a very big analytic day. Day 1 usually has been. This year it was all about the best player available. So yeah, day 1 I give the Eagles an A+. Day 2 I give the Eagles a C+, and day 3 a B+. And if you want to take that C+ to a C, then so be it. But I think it was the average day. The players that they drafted weren't the problem. It was the strategy and it was the positioning and the Eagles using the draft board that I thought wasn't good. And then of course the blow up in the war room is just embarrassing. It's embarrassing. So that's how I feel about this draft. Overall, the Eagles got better. Let's see if Gannon, Nick Sirianni, let's see if these guys who were hired to be player developers can develop some of this talent. And if there's any way we can get another guy to start next year somewhere on this team, it would be great. I only see 1 starter for next year coming out of it, but that wasn't the Eagles' plan. Their plan was for 2 years, 3 years down the road. So we have to remember that. They were not drafting to find 2 quality starters next year. They were drafting for 2 or 3 years down the road. And that was their strategy. When you think of it that way, I think that they had a little better draft than people like to make out. Just my opinion. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. I might have a video later today if there's something that happens. Otherwise, I'm going to actually spend the first day in my house not rushing, running around, doing something. And so Tuesday or Wednesday, we'll be back with some more live streams. We're going to see if I can get some guests on and discuss what they thought about this draft. With that said, take care. Talk to you later. And of course, don't be a dingbat. I just streamed 6.5 hours of the draft, and I'm hungry. I'm ready to cook some steaks on my new Traeger, but I'm waiting for it to get here. And I go and I look and I check it out when it's going to be delivered. It says it was delivered at 7:15 this morning. Where the hell is it? Where the hell is it? It's not over here. They didn't put it here. They didn't put it on my porch. They didn't put it over here. The builders aren't cooking out with it. Where the hell's my Traeger? I want steak, man. I want some medium rare steak. Hey, Home Depot, where's my Traeger?